We had a little technical issue. We are back. You just gave me a piece of information. Would you like to repeat that?
Yeah, one of the most interesting stats I've ever seen when talking about the Brady Bunch, they have 2 running backs that finished the game with negative yards.
The whole game.
So
Not just a play, the whole game.
The entire game, 2 running backs finished with negative yards on one team. That is one of the most incredible stats I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that before.
And I think that's why you don't break 53 points.
That apparently is probably it. Okay, so we're going to move right on to Stu's game. Dirty Sanchez, Gravity's Rainbow. Dirty Sanchez beat up Gravity's Rainbow 128-94, 34-point win. Jalen Hurts and James Robinson were a pleasant surprise, 28 from Hurts and 20 by Robinson. Side note, the downfall of Champagne is I keep burping now.
Yeah.
So, we're trying to get through it. Kamara and Mixon did okay, 14-13, but Mixon caught an ankle injury. I don't know if he's out this week. I think he's banged up for sure.
I believe he's out.
We'll see. We'll talk about that in the free agents, I guess. For Jeff, it was Herbert with 29 and Hollywood with 18. Hollywood's starting out to have a pretty decent year. He's making catches he didn't used to make. He's still having a lot of drops, but he's on the board. 2-2. Nothing crazy here. I really like Jalen Hurts. I think he's like number 4 quarterback right now, so I really appreciate that Stu got him. I was good at I was targeting him, but it was a round or 2 later because I don't value quarterbacks at all, which is why I'm right now in a quarterback conundrum. I'm on my 3rd quarterback of the year, and I can't get Matt Ryan because he's playing in London, and our waivers don't pass till noon, and he starts at 9 a.m.
Why wouldn't you start Trey Lance?
I am going to now, but it was only 15 minutes ago they said Garoppolo's out. They were still trying to force Garoppolo to play, so that was a situation. Last game on the docket, Confederate States. They edged out Crumb Snatchers by less than 2. By less than 2 points.
This was a rough one for the Crumb Snatchers.
118.2 to 116.7. I usually don't put the points in there, the 0.2, but it was that close. Gaskin had 0.3. He had positive yards, but that's about the best you can say about him. He had 3 yards on the ground. Beasley had 2.6. Excuse me. Mahomes had 40. Zeke had 22. Tyler Bass had 16, which I have a note here. Bass doubled the high score on Abbott's team.
Oh, man.
I forgot he had this many points. I was calling around to a few people about coming on today. I guess it's just there's a lot that wanted to be on, but things happen. So I didn't think about Abbott coming off a 53-point week. I don't think I would have came and defended my team though. So
I actually offered him, and he made up an excuse.
I would too. I hope he's looking at the waiver wire. That's what I would have said. Palmer had a decent showing. 20 points out of Stafford, 30 from Eckler, which is really nice. 9.9 from Michael Carter. So if you get 10 out of that flex, I'm sorry, 9.2. I don't know why 9.9. But I kind of like Michael Carter. He's a Jets running back, so you don't have to go crazy. I did try to trade for him last week. Again, I think he's going to be decent, but 10 points out of the flex, okay. He would have got... No, he needed 12. 38 and a touchdown, so I don't think he wasn't even... But I think the big issue is Allen Robinson with 7.8 again. He needs something to happen with Allen Robinson. That's a lot of draft capital. The problem with Allen Robinson is that Fields is a starter. And Fields does not like Allen Robinson, apparently.
Yeah, Tim's team, his receivers are really hurting him. Austin Eckler almost carried him to a victory on Monday night.
He had a nice game. That's a really nice game.
His receivers and his flex are really hurting him until we... this was a good game for him, but... overall in the grand scheme.
Well, the good thing for him is, Robert Woods did well this week. You can probably pull Allen Robinson at this point and put in Laviska Shenault now that Chark's injured. Or no, is Shenault injured? No, Chark's injured. That has to help a little bit. Maybe. He's in my division, but at this point, I just gotta win. Gotta do something, my man.
If he wins, do you think he'll come back to the show?
Absolutely. I think that's the only thing holding him back. We hammered him last year because of Drake and everything.
You know what? Kenyon Drake isn't doing much more this year either. He's probably doing worse.
He's primed for a break.
He had .2 points this past week. He won me $1 though.
Oh, nice. We both went 5-1. Puts my season to 15.9. Puts you in 13-11. So we're getting there. We'll move to the add and drops because there was a lot of them. And your brother bid multiple times on multiple different people. I don't know how and why. They were all different figures. I tried to weed them out the best I can, but I might have missed some here and there. But Dalton Schultz and Dawson Knox got a lot of bids. Dawson Knox was the prize this week. He's a Buffalo tight end. Went for $17. The Thunder Gun Express. Jeff bid 8. Pat bid 7. Adam bid 6. Pat bid multiple times on him. Samaje P. Ryan, Cincinnati running back. I saw you bid 3 on him. Palmer landed him for 13. Does Palmer have Mixon? No.
No, Stu has Mixon.
Okay. Sam Darnold, quarterback, Carolina. Pat bid 13. Palmer bid 6. I bid 5. Dalton Schultz, Dallas tight end. Joey bid 11. Pat bid 7 at one point and a few other amounts. Abbott bid 6. General bid 5. Jamison Crowder, Jets wide receiver. Abbott bid 5 and got him. Alex Collins, Seattle running back. I bid 5. Jeff bid 3. Josh Gordon, KC wide receiver. Pat bid 5. I'm not a Josh Gordon believer, but if he gets going, he was good 10 years ago when he played football.
Yeah, I think he's past his prime.
He hasn't played football professionally. He played in that other league for a little while this year, but I don't know. Cardinals defense went to Jeff for 4. Darnell Mooney, Chicago wide receiver, went to 4 for Joey. I think this might be the pickup of the week, especially with Fields being a starter. And then Dallas defense went to Palmer for 3. You want to go into emails?
Yeah.
High score of the week was Pat 138. So we're about, the lowest high was 161. So now it's 138. Do you have your medallion?
I forgot it.
I just printed this out. I didn't even rewrite it. And I sent you the email. I actually sent it to Bill first by accident because we were talking about fantasy baseball. We finished 4th, which is a pace ball. We got our money back. But he goes, "Oh, okay, neat." I'm like, dude, I meant to send that to Mark. So here we go. July 8th, 1947, Roswell Airfield issued a press release stating they have recovered a flying disc from a ranch near Roswell. As I read this would be perfect for Palmer to read in his newscaster voice.
It would.
The Army quickly retracted the statement and said the crashed object was a conventional weather balloon. Many residents also reported seeing a saucer-type object that evening. Given that the Pentagon is now slowly releasing declassified reports of unidentified flying objects being reported by Navy pilots in several top secret bases, do we believe it was a weather balloon, or do you believe, or did the government recover a craft? Can it be possible that we are the only planet with life in the entire universe? What's your first response to that? I do think it's really neat and kind of scary when you hear the Navy pilots like almost freaking out. I know those guys are and women, I guess. Those people are trained to be in control, not be the intimidators, not being intimidated. But when you hear these people saying these maneuvers and this and that and the speed and the change of directions, it's concerning. I don't know what it is.
I think it's us.
Americans or Earthlings?
I think it's Earthlings. I think, to go back to the Roswell, I think that was maybe a Russian spacecraft, or not spacecraft, military craft.
Yep.
That they sent over here that crashed and we recovered, and that the government didn't want them to know that we had it, so we could
steal their...
reverse engineer their technology. And then I think the other sightings that these Navy and Army, these pilots are seeing are different projects that they are unaware of.
That they are unaware of.
Correct. So it might not be U.S. technology. It might be Russian, Chinese, so on and so forth. But I don't think it's alien species.
What do you feel? Jeez, I think that's the coolest thing ever. I just found it. Would you feel better if it was extraterrestrial, or do you feel better if it's Earthlings but a hostile government? I mean, they're definitely not our ally.
I'd probably feel better. Well, I don't feel bad either way.
It doesn't change my day to day.
If it's a hostile other government, so be it. If it's an alien spacecraft, they haven't attacked yet, so I doubt they will now. But I believe there's life out there somewhere.
That's what I was looking for. So of course I dug into it a little bit. There was Italian-American physicist Enrico Fermi.
Oh, Enrico.
Enrico Fermi. I don't know if that's the correct way to say it. There's a Fermi paradox that he worked on. There's billions of stars in the Milky Way similar to the Sun. With high probability, some of these stars have Earth-like planets in a circumstellar habitable zone. Many of these stars, and hence their planets, are far older than the Sun. If the Earth is typical, some may have developed intelligent life long ago. Some civilizations may have developed interstellar travel, a step humans are investigating now. Even at a slow pace of currently envisioned interstellar travel, the Milky Way galaxy could be completely traversed in a few million years. And since many of these stars, similar to the Sun, are billions of years older than our particular Sun, Earth should have already been visited by extraterrestrials, or at least their probes. However, there is no convincing evidence that this has ever occurred. So his paradox is that where our Sun is middle-aged, there's millions and billions of suns in the Milky Way itself. And since we're middle-aged, there should have been a Sun and an Earth millions of years ago that, if given the same trajectory we have should have already been able to fly crafts and inhabit other planets.
That makes sense.
There's also something about Phase 1, 2, and 3 civilizations. Phase 1 civilization is a civilization that can harness all the energy on its home planet, which we can't right now, but we're moving toward. Phase 2 is they can use all the matter as energy of their own sun, which we don't at all. And Phase 3 is they can encompass their whole solar system and use that as energy. And once that happens, I think the sky's the limit. When you have that much energy, you can almost do anything.
Is that from Star Wars?
No, that's an actual. It's a scale. It's some scale. I don't know what it is, but I heard them talk about it before. And I think we're also built. I think we're built with speed bumps. I think once we get too smart, like the ability to create a nuclear bomb, that'll end civilization at some point. Or if we get too overcrowded, food becomes an issue and you sort of die out, or climate change or other things. I think there's built-in stoppers to prevent us from being that type 3 civilization. But I can't even have a fantasy team that wins more than 2 games in 4 weeks, so I don't know that I'm the one to talk to about that. But Stu's hitting it. He's coming with it.
Do you think Tim might be on one of the other planets right now?
As far as I'm concerned, he could be. I don't know. Little injury news came through. Russell Wilson out 6 to 8 weeks. I'm sure you're not thrilled about that.
Russell Wilson hasn't missed a game in his career
Till now.
So
you get him.
I drafted him on my team, and now he's out 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks. Well,
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. We'll touch on that with the previews. First one is Confederate States of America versus Batting Lawn. Kurt's 4-0. I'm 2-2. Kurt got 12 points out of Cooper Kupp. I must say I'm happy. 12 points is fine, but Kupp's a touchdown scoring guy. He has Mahomes versus a tough Buffalo team. Elliott versus Giants, who I think the Giants are decent versus the run. I don't know. What concerns me is Jamar Chase versus Green Bay. Jair Alexander's out. I think Higgins might be back, so it's going to be hard to stop all those guys. Darren Waller versus Chicago, he should probably feast. Beasley versus KC, there's a lot of points to be had there. I think his best player is probably the Broncos defense versus Steelers and ability to play football. On my side right now, it's Teddy Bridgewater. He might play, he might not. Lance might play, he might not. I'm waiting until the end to see that. Dalvin Cook versus Detroit, great matchup. He might play, might not. Latavius Murray, I don't love. My big ones, though, are DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, and Samuel. My big sleeper this week is Kyle Pitts with no Ridley, no Russell Gage. Apparently Cordell Patterson is their offense, but I think they have to throw it to someone else. Hopefully it's Pitts. How do you see this one playing out?
I think the Confederate States of America are going to get their first loss this week.
Excellent. I feel the same way. I don't know what it is. I think it's the Cooper Kupp move. I think he was the X factor.
That helps. I don't like his second running back at all. I'm not too big on your quarterback, but if you put Trey Lance in there, I think Trey Lance will actually score a lot of fantasy points. Your second running back, I think, beats his. Receivers match up well after what we saw out of Cooper Kupp. And
Trey Lance had 24 points in a half of football last week, so Trey Lance will be starting if he is starting.
And then Debo, I think, is a upgrade over Cole Beasley at the flex position. So I think you win and keep the ball rolling.
Hopefully you're right. Next one, Cream of Wheat versus Thundergun Express. Joe batting 2-2. Jack Beck 2-2. Jack has a fantasy hockey draft tonight. I hope he drafts well. He drafted a pretty decent fantasy football team at just 2-2. Not setting the world on fire, but I think he's a solid team. Joey's team banged up Gibson, banged up Swift. Underachieving Lamb. Corey Davis is a star. Underachieving Kelsey, and then Hunt versus Chargers. Other side, Metcalf with 24 already. That's a solid game. 5 for 98 and 2 tutties. If he gets 2 more yards, that really makes something happen. Barkley versus a tough run defense with Dallas. Murray versus San Fran. I don't think that should be much of a problem. Golladay versus Dallas, that should be a shootout, so Golladay should get some work. And the newly minted Brandon Cooks, who had a nice little breakout game. Buffalo defense versus KC, though. I think he's going to have to address that, maybe. What do you see here? I think a 24-point start is a solid start for Jack.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm going to take Jack in this one just off, like you said, the big game out of DK. I think Jack's receivers outmatch Cream of Wheat's receivers. Running backs are banged up. I think, out of the 4 running backs in this one, Saquon Barkley's really the only one who stands out to me. I think he's been every week getting better and stronger. Murray's the MVP. Prescott's somebody who can match him, though. The rest of the lineups, Kelsey and Hunt, I think, are a stronger tight end flex position than Knox and Cooks. I just think between Murray, Barkley, and Metcalf that the Thundergun Express will win.
Yeah, I think you said it all. I agree with everything you said. If you tell me he has a healthy Swift and a healthy Gibson, maybe I change my mind. But right now, Swift is a 50-50 guy, and Gibson's not getting the pass work he's supposed to get. The guy was a receiver in college. I don't understand why they're not throwing to him more, but that's it. The next game, I'm going to write down our picks right now. It's going to be Tagmeyer versus Brady Bunch. Matt Abbott's team. Abbott's 1-3. Tags is 4-0. Maintain the crown. This is another crown opportunity for him. I don't believe McCaffrey's playing yet this week. I don't know if that's a good thing. Maybe give him another week to heal up. Maybe he'll be better. But looking at his lineup, Brady is probably in for a get-back game because he didn't play very well Sunday night with the storm and everything. Harris versus Houston. I have a feeling they're going to be up big. They're probably going to run a lot. He should have a lot of opportunity. But the only other thing that sticks out to me is Boyd with Green Bay, like we said earlier. They are lacking corners, and I think that's probably going to be a shootout. Other side, Aaron Rodgers versus Cincy. He's going to have to throw a lot. Derrick Henry versus Jacksonville. I'm curious, is that matchup too good? Henry has, I don't even know how many carries this year. A lot. He's probably at a record-breaking pace. Do they get out to a big lead and then bring the backup in, or do they just keep pounding Henry? Or, you know what? Tennessee lost to the Jets last week. Did they lose to Jacksonville this week? James Conner had a nice game. He's playing San Fran. A.J. Brown is playing, so he has a lot of Tennessee offense, which isn't great all the time. Wonder if Hawkinson bounce backs versus Minnesota, and then you have Cooper versus the Giants. I think I'm going to take Tagmeyer in this one. I don't see they have Abbott projected at 112, which is more than double what he got last week. So I'm curious if how you see this one playing out.
Yeah, I think if the Brady Bunch breaks 100, he'll be happy this week. Thielen and Keenan Allen, great receivers. Other than that, and Brady's a good quarterback, obviously. But other than that, his running backs, they're just not there. Tight end isn't there. I just don't think he has enough.
This is the best thing. I love it.
I just don't think he'll have enough between Rodgers, Derrick Henry, Justin Jefferson. A.J. Brown's been, he's been under par so far this year, but Amari Cooper, there's too much talent on that team. General wins by 30.
By 30?
At least.
So he's going to keep it. He is going to keep it, I guess. Next one. The Battle of the Brothers. I didn't know that. This is like the Red Wedding, man. Still Agenda versus Ben's Baloney Boppers, 2-2, and you are 1-3. Pat got 82 and a touchdown out of Henderson. You got a disappointing 9.8 out of Wilson, and you also got to find a new quarterback. Allen versus KC, sweet. This is what I love. I think, and I want to knock on wood here, I think Edwards-Helaire versus Buffalo. I think Debo's going to win another week. Just saying. Devontae Adams versus Cincy should be a nice one. Diggs versus Cincy should be a nice one. He has a sweet, juicy matchup with both of those guys. All of a sudden, superstar Jared Cook playing Cleveland. He had 16 last week. He looked solid. McLaurin versus New Orleans. I would say, if this is me last week, I say, Latimer. But New Orleans is terrible. They don't have any opportunities to win games. They don't look great. Taylor versus a Baltimore defense on a Monday night at Baltimore. I don't think Baltimore's defense is what it used to be. It's definitely run defense is not what it used to be. But that Monday night in the M&T Bank Stadium is vicious. Although maybe Taylor gets up for the bright lights too. I don't know. Fournette versus Miami. Hill versus Buffalo. We keep talking about that's going to be a shootout. Mike Evans versus Miami again. I always forget you have all of Tampa's offense. Mike Gesicki. Let me ask you a question. Would you trade Mike Gesicki for Andrews right now?
For Mark Andrews?
Mark Andrews.
No.
Hawkinson.
Probably.
Fant.
No.
Pitts.
No.
And I would assume Waller and Kelsey are yeses.
Waller, yeah. Kelsey, yeah.
Yeah, so Gesicki without Tua is a baller.
He's a top 10 tight end.
He's a top 10 tight end. He gave up a couple weeks at the beginning of the year. He's come on nice. I drafted him last year, and he looked terrible. Then I got rid of him, and he looked great. Actually, I think that might have been my other league. I don't know. But as good as Gesicki looks, what are your thoughts on Beckham versus the Chargers? Came out with 4 points last week. Landry's out, and apparently Baker has an injury.
Yeah, Beckham's a tough one because if you watch some of that game last week, he was targeted quite a bit. They were bad throws. There was actually a big play towards the end of the game that didn't connect, which would have been a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that he's not on the field or getting opportunities, it's just that they're not connecting. I'm still holding out hope that they'll kind of create that. He's only 28. He's still not past his prime. I'm still holding out hope that they kind of figure each other out. And Beckham, because really with Landry out, they don't really have another top-end receiver up
They
there.
really don't.
So, I think he can put it together, and I think Baker's a decent quarterback.
Are you hesitant to start Evans and Brown?
Yeah. I can't start Evans and Brown and Fournette and Gronk when he's there.
Well, yeah.
Gronk's a top 3 tight end right now.
With cracked ribs. So who are you taking here? I actually, with Adams and Diggs, I'm actively rooting against Hilaire. Not because I don't have him anymore, because I don't like him. I was so excited to get Cook, Hilaire, and Montgomery, and the best one was Montgomery, and now he's done. So I'm offended. I'm hurt. Cook let me down. As soon as Hilaire put up 4 points or 6 points the first week, I said, dude, again, we're going to go through this every game again. Then he had another bad week, and I'm actively rooting against Hilaire. He's the bane of my existence. He's that fantasy guy that I'm so annoyed by him at this point. The metrics are there. He should be good. He probably will be good. Just not for me. I'm actually going to take Pat here. Where are you leaning here?
Yesterday at this time I would have taken myself. I'm still going to take myself.
Kind of have to.
But with the disclaimer, knowing that Russell Wilson got hurt and only scored 9.8 points yesterday, and Darrell Henderson scored 16, I wouldn't necessarily be scared of the 16 out of him and the 8 out of the kicker. It's just that Wilson getting hurt and getting less than 10 points because of it, going to make it a little bit tougher, but that's what we're built for.
For sure. And I've heard a lot about Cordero Patterson this past week, how good he is.
It's weird. He's not even in his lineup.
I'm surprised he's not starting.
He is. Let me see his... He's the
third
ranked.
Oh, 3 now?
Third ranked running back. Weird that a running back of that stature would be on the bench.
Pat also has Darnold, and I know you're looking for a quarterback. Maybe you can...
No, I'm good with Derek Carr.
Oh, you're going to start the car? Chicago, man. Should be all right. Well, next week. Okay, so I'm taking Pat. You're taking yourself. I put an asterisk next to it, so we all know. Gravity's Rainbows and Rough Cats, 2-2 versus the 1-3 Rough Cats. A lot of star power on his team. Herbert, Aaron Jones, Hopkins, Lockett, Kittle, Hollywood. But Lockett with 8.2, I mean, you kind of want to get 10, I think. You want more, but if you can get 10 with a guy like Lockett, you're happy. I'm assuming he was a fifth roundish, because I know I was going to take him in the 5th, and I didn't, so he must have been taken. And the other side, more firepower. Jackson, Chubb, and that's it. Jacobs, I don't know. He's back. You play him, I guess.
Yeah, Jacobs is a solid
Yeah,
third
he's
running
fine,
back.
I guess. I can see Robbie Anderson on the bench. Ridley's on the bench. Okay, I thought he had more than that. Yeah, so, man, Brad guy can't catch a break. Again, M&T Bank Stadium, Monday night, Indy. Maybe Lamar gets back to 150, 2 touchdowns, and throws 2 more. You know, you're looking for a 40-point game out of him. And unfortunately for Bry, I think you're going to need about a 40, 45-point game out of Lamar. I'm taking Jeff. His team looks solid. Short of Herbert getting planted by Myles Garrett in the first play of the game and leaving. Mike Davis stinks when he's playing the Jets. Kittle's in Arizona. His matchups are decent. Only 8 out of Lockett. I don't think Pittman's going to get 8.
I'm going to go at my prediction of the week is the Rough Cats
Oh.
don't break 100.
Oh, okay. So I'm assuming...
They don't break... I'm going to go with
Does
Gravity's
Jeff get
Rainbow.
less than 100?
Jeff gets more.
Okay, so Jeff...
And it's not a shot at the Rough Cats. It's just that Michael Pittman and Jacoby Myers, I don't know if they start in any other lineup on any other team in any other fantasy league.
Do you think he breaks Abbott's record last week of 52?
I think
Lamar
he gets
Jackson
more.
will get 30 at
Between
least.
Jackson and Chubb, they'll break
yeah.
it. But Pittman, Myers, Hooper, I heard Jacobs. It's going to be close, but I think he has enough star power at the top. It's just that bottom of the lineup is...
So that's something. Last game on a slate, Crumb Snatchers 1-3 versus Dirty Sanchez 2-2. Crumb Snatchers had 2 guys go. Stafford got 15, and Bobby Trees, Robert Woods, got 12 receptions, 150 for 23 points. That's great out of Robert Woods. Stafford, however, though, 365 and a touchdown, and he came on with 15 points. Is Stafford good? Is he better than Goff?
He's a lot better than Goff.
But he's slumping. I don't think he's doing really all that great lately. 280 and 2 touchdowns versus Arizona. 343 and 4 touchdowns versus Tampa is solid. But then even against Indy, he only had 18 points. So he's had, I'm not going to say they're bust games, but man, Stafford, he's a number 4 quarterback, but I think that's on the weight of a 31-point week and a 36-point week.
Yeah, I think he's a good quarterback. He's not one of the elite quarterbacks.
Next level.
But he's good. He's a solid fantasy quarterback for Tim. But it's just his receivers.
Like for Tim, or because Tim has such low standards?
Take it however you want to. But no, I actually think Tim wins this week because Robert Woods finally put up a solid week. Stafford didn't score what we're used to seeing him, but Woods finally put up had a decent week. On the flip side, Cortland Sutton, Evan Ingram, and T. Higgins, I'm not sold on all 3 of them being in the starting lineup. Hurts, Kamara, Robinson, Godwin, I think is solid, but I think Stafford, Eckler, Harris, and Woods match with that. I think Michael Carter's my only question mark in Tim's lineup. I have 3 in Stu's. I'm going with the Snatchers.
Wow. I'm going the other way. I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. James Robinson versus Tennessee. Tennessee can't stop anybody. Kamara's like Cook, except Kamara plays every game. Cook doesn't. They're both very, very underachievers. That's not the right way to say it. They're both underachieving this year. I do like Cortland Sutton, not Cam Sutton, but against the Steelers.
I like Cam Sutton too.
Yeah, against the Steelers.
He's not playing though.
If you got Teddy Bridgewater with a concussion and Watt bearing down on him, watch dirty. He'll hit him late, probably knock him out of the game. He trips people.
I think he's clean.
He trips people, gets sacks out of it. He got 2 sacks last week. One should have been a penalty, but I guess we'll just keep stacking his sack numbers up. I'm taking Stu. I love 23. If you would have told me Stafford got 25, it's going to be close for sure, I think. What are the projections? 118 to 116. So, yeah. I'm taking Stu, but I don't know. I don't know that Palmer's going to have enough, especially with Stafford doing what he did. It's not fantastic for him. I guess the last thing we have to really do, which I believe is now a fan favorite, is the Mark Sill power rankings. Are you set with them? Did you?
Oh yeah.
Did you put some work in? You got them all good?
They're revised. Now remember, disclaimer, they're done after the week before this week starts. So like the injuries that happened last night.
So you do it halftime on Monday night game or Tuesday, I guess.
Yeah, I do Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
So it's after the week, but before the Thursday night games. So Russell Wilson's injury wouldn't be included in this week's power rankings.
I gotcha.
So with that being said, if you want to pull up records and whatnot, because I'm looking at my phone, coming at number 12.
Let's get you to standings here.
We got the Crumb Snatchers.
Number 12, the Crumb Snatchers.
I think he was in 12th a couple weeks ago. Won a game after last week's performance. Only team in the league. He just cracked 400 points. Tim, I hope he wins this week. I picked him to win this week, but he's coming in at 12.
I'm surprised that Abbott didn't after a 50-point week.
Well, Abbott's coming in at number 11. So I'm glad, because if you see last week, the Snatchers were 11. They fell back to 12. The Brady Bunch was at 6. He dropped 5 spots all the way back to 11. After a 50-point week, there's not much else to be said. You're the 11th ranked team. Coming in at 10, another 1-3 team, the Rough Cats. They were 8 last week. They're 10 this week. We just talked about it. That second half of his lineup, there's no tight end. There's no second receiver. There's not a good flex. Rough Cats coming in number 10. Coming in at number 9, you talked about it a little bit earlier. This might be a surprise to some, but it's the Kareem of Wheat.
Oh.
They were 7th last week. They lost again. He talked about his lineup is it's either underperforming or it's beat up.
It's one or the other.
And if Kelsey's not going to hit, if Dak doesn't hit, there's really nobody else there. Corey Davis isn't going to keep it up. We got Kareem of Wheat at 9. Coming in at 8, we got the 1-3 Ben's Baloney Boppers. They were 12th last week. They made the jump of the week after the first win. But, it was a solid lineup all around. This was before the Wilson injury. Wilson got injured prior to this. I don't know if they jumped this high, but, when the power rankings were made, this is where they were at. Coming in at number 7, we have Gravity's Rainbow. Another 2-2 ranked team. It's a team that I like, but it's a team that I don't think has a second running back. It still has some holes in a George Kittle who's underperforming. So, I think they can make a run, but right now it's I think it's just underperforming altogether. Number 6, we have Batting's Lawn.
I knew it was coming soon.
One of the biggest jumps, coming in number 10 last week, moved all the way up to 6. I think the trade between CEH and Debo benefited to both of you. Might have moved up even higher without the Montgomery injury.
That's a problem.
That's going to hurt. I think the Trey Lance quarterback helps, but I think it was a good jump. So we'll see what happens moving forward. Coming in at number 5, we have Dirty Sanchez.
Ooh.
Stu was 9 last week. He jumped up after a win. We talked about it. Saw the team. Joe Mixon injuries hurting him, but if he can get him back, I think he is a solid 5-6 team. Coming in number 4, one of the only teams not to move this week, Thundergun Express.
Thundergun.
Jack lost last week, but he lost to a solid team. Put up a good effort. I think he has, a solid lineup, and I continue to see him, kind of sticking around that position. Jack, one of the highest point scorers in his division, too. So number 3, we got the Still Agenda. Still Agenda just a few weeks ago was in 12th or 11th, but after the trade that we talked about, both of those teams benefited. The Agenda, I think the Agenda is strong right now. Trying to make a lot of moves. Who knows where we'll go, but the receivers, great. Quarterback, great. Running back, solid. Top 2 remain unchanged. Coming in at number 2, Confederate States of America. Not much else to be said. Needs a second running back.
You gotta change the name. It takes me a long time to type it. I'm not a typer.
But with Zeke, Mahomes, Waller, he's pretty good at every position. And then at number 1, we got the General. Not much more you can say about the General at this point. He keeps his crown. Rodgers, Jefferson, Derrick Henry's one of the top players in the league. I see it. Those two, top 2, can't get much more close than we talked about their points. They actually both have 562 points. There's 0.3 points separating them. So
that's crazy. This deep. 4 games in.
Yeah. So I think there'll be some movement up top this week. But again, until the General Confederate States lose, there's going to be no changes. But things change quickly. You look a couple weeks ago, So Agenda and Batting Lawn were closer to the bottom. Now they're both top-tier teams.
It's a fair trade. Fair trades are good. I know some people don't like fair trades.
Yeah, and looking at it, if I had to say, the divisions are starting to kind of take shape. I think in the varsity division, which would be the division I'm in, you're in it as well. I think the General batting lawn and Ben's Baloney Boppers are your playoff teams. Kareem of Wheat is just on the outside. The Rough Cats and the Crumb Snatchers, they're not,
I do have to give it up for Tagmeyer. I think very shrewd picking the Rough Cats and definitely
I think
picking
Crumb
the Crumb Snatchers. I think he had a huge misstep putting you and I in that division.
And then on the flip side, I think the Confederate States of America, still agenda, and I think it's going to come down to Thunder Gun Express, Dirty Sanchez, and Gravity's Rainbow. I think the Thunder Gun Express gets it in that division. Kyler Murray.
It's going to come down to injuries. We'll see how it goes. It's going to come down. See who stays healthy, see who's the deepest. And that's that. Week 4 is in the books. NFL season is less than a quarter of the way over because they added a 17th week. But fantasy, how many weeks have we played? 15? 16? 15.
Yep.
So we're more than a quarter of the way done. So people need to start getting their teams. They got to start making their runs. Got to be nice getting your first win. Palmer has a win, but you get a win and you go a couple weeks without winning again. You fall right back into that slump.
There's only 2 teams with winning records in our league.
4-0, 4-0. Everyone else is 2-2 or 1-3. Yeah, it's tight. I thought everyone drafted well or drafted evenly. It's going to come down to injuries. We'll see if McCaffrey comes back. Maybe next week, I guess. We'll see how the Russell Wilson injury handles you. We'll see how that David Montgomery injury, if I can get over that. See what Mixon is. There's a lot of big-time guys injured right now.
And there'll probably be even more after Sunday.
I'm sure there will be.
Whose team's going to get affected most by the injuries this week?
I hope it's Edwards-Helaire.
I'm going to say it's...
Isn't one of the Dallas receivers hurt but still playing? It might be Cooper.
You know what? It's the general.
He's going to get an injury?
Yeah, he's had too much.
He's way up.
Too much, too many good weeks with, no unlucky weeks. A.J. Brown was injured for 1 week. I think the general of the Confederate States finally hit a speed bump.
We'll see. Time will tell. So I guess until next week. Did you like the setup here with the couches?
Yeah, I thought it was comfortable.
I think
I liked it. I like the shout out.
Big fan. She's a big fan, I hear. We have opportunities to bring people in. This week, I wanted to kind of film here first to see how it worked out. I don't know if we'll be here or Mark's house. We can alternate. It doesn't really matter. I think we've proven that we can do both venues fine. I think I asked everyone a little bit late. Everyone had plans. Curious how Jack's hockey team went, what his first pick would be. But we do have opportunities to get people on the show. So maybe you can drop your emails for suggestions for people, or if you want to suggest yourself. Tags keeps the crown. We'll see if that changes next week. We'll see who gets hurt. And that's that until, I guess, next Thursday or Friday.
Thanks for watching.
Where is the Steeler game at this week? Oh, someone hit a nerve. What happened?
I mean, there's somebody who's on the schedule to host who isn't hosting.
Who's that?
I don't want to talk anymore.
Oh, jeez. I hope it's someone to Tagmeyer.
I mean, name's on the board.
Yeah, we're gonna take that off now. What are the circumstances there?
You'd have to ask him. I don't know.
Oh, geez. So now it's going to stay up. That's for Jake. I heard Jake's a big watcher now.
Jake might be our number 1 fan. I'm most looking forward to taking the show on the road to Jake's camp.
In the cabin, or what's it called?
Could be Fireside Chat.
What was Bert Kreischer into the woods or at the cabin or into the cabin or something?
I know you're talking.
That's what it's going to be. I hope we walk in and Jake's laying on a
he can fit 6.
bear.
He can fit 6 in his cabin.
Cans of beer in his refrigerator?
We can sleep 6.
That's not accurate. I've seen that cabin.
Me, you, and Tags, and him. That's 4. We can get 2 more.
Good fishing, I heard. Good fishing. Well, that's enough. We had 44 minutes on this video, about 10 on the last one, so it's almost an hour. That's a lot. But we covered a lot of good things, and we will catch you next week.